So today we're going to use our oils to draw a bald eagle. We're going to use just basic shapes and lines. To do this, you're going to use a pencil. I'm going to actually draw with a fine point Sharpie pen so that you can see everything on the screen. And then at the end, we're going to add just a little bit of color with some colored pencils. And my colored pencils are watercolor pencils, and I'll show you how to use those, but if you don't have these, you can just use regular colored pencils as well. All right, so those are the simple materials that we're going to use today, and let's get started. If you look over here very closely, you can see that I already have some guidelines drawn on my paper for me because I'm drawing upside down. And I've realized that as I draw upside down, it doesn't always come across exactly how I'm trying to draw it over on this piece of paper. So I wanted to have some guidelines for you just so you could see. Now, I've created this document for you guys that has 4 different examples of a bald eagle on it, and it's a PDF that you can download with this week's session. We're going to look at this bald eagle right here to draw. And then tomorrow you get to draw a bald eagle, and you've got a couple examples here. If you want a different example, you can ask your mom or dad if you can look online at some different examples of some bald eagles. So let's get started. The first basic shape that we're going to draw is an oval for the head. Now with your pencil, it's okay if you draw very lightly with your pencil lines, and you want to draw, I usually just kind of go around a couple of times. Now I'm drawing with a pen, so I can't erase, but I did draw with a pencil over here, so I could erase. So you can erase as well. So I'm just going to kind of draw a couple of times around just to kind of get the shape of the oval. Now the next thing we're going to do is draw this beak. If you look very carefully, it's an angled, or actually a wavy, curvy line, okay? So it's going to start about right here in the midsection, and I'll draw it this way so you can see. Watch first, and then you can see it. So I'm gonna draw, and it's gonna curve down to a point, and I'm going to stop. Now I bring it back up. I don't have my eye, well I do have my eye drawn, but you don't have your eye drawn yet, but the line does extend. If you look very carefully at this bird, the line for the mouth extends to almost the midpoint of the eye. So I want to make this line go far back as possible. So what I'm going to do is draw, and if it's not long enough, because you haven't drawn the eye yet, you can always change that later. So again, it's got a curved line and then another curved line in there for the mouth. And if you look, like when I first started looking at this, it looks as though this eagle is angry, or that he's serious, or that he's very strong. It's just amazing how that appears, isn't it? Now for the eye, again, he's got this almost frown going on with his eyes. So we're going to create this straight diagonal line for the top of his eye, and then a rounded shape, like a circle, underneath. And there's actually 3 circles on the inside there. So there's another circle on here, and then a filled in dot, okay? See how you're getting that? Now, what we want to do next is create, I wanted to draw the chest of the bird, okay? Again, it's another curved line, so I'm gonna come probably about like right down, like underneath the eye, and draw a long curved line. And then I want to get the shoulder of the wing here. So I'm going to draw another curved line over here in the corner. So a lot of curved lines. All right, so we've got some basic shapes here. Now we want to use some angled lines to get the white feathers of this eagle drawn on here. And all you're really going to do, oops, we forgot this curved line. Sorry, let's go back and get this curved line where it connects. Very good. All right, now we want to get the angled lines of the feathers. And so what I'm going to do is just start drawing a series of angled lines. And up here, I drew some angled lines coming off the top of his head. Okay, and then throughout, I just drew a series of angled lines so that you get the feeling as though the feathers are there. If you want to draw another layer of angled lines, you can. So you're starting to get the feeling that those white feathers are there. Now on your paper, see where you've got this oval drawn? You would actually take your eraser and erase those at the end. But again, I'm drawing with a pen so you can see what it is that I'm drawing. Now the last thing that we want to do is add just a few angled lines for feathers down on the wing and on the chest. So I'm just going to draw just a series of angled lines down here and maybe just a few angled lines down here. All right, and that's it. That's all you have to do to draw an eagle using basic shapes. Now we're going to color it, so go get your colored pencils or crayons or whatever it is that you have. You could even use markers if you want. Go get those and we'll come right back to color. So the color palette is very simple. I've got some orange, yellow, black, and brown. And I'll start down here and color. I'm not going to color everything for you because you can see it. But the way these watercolor pencils work is pretty cool. So I'm going to color in just an area for you so you can see what happens. You can use it a couple of different ways. You can actually dip this pencil lead, because it's a watercolor pencil. See the paintbrush on there? You can dip this in the water, and if you dip it in the water, look at what happens. It kind of spreads out and goes on nice and neat. Or, after you're done coloring an area and you've got the color that you want drawn on there, so I'm going to add just a little bit of black on here too, just to make it darker. You can actually take your paintbrush with a little bit of water, very gently, just go right over the color, and it makes a nice smooth color, and it can even spread out a little bit for you if you wanted. Okay, so that's just one example of using watercolor pencils. Now over here in the beak area, I didn't want it to just be one solid yellow, so I feel like there's a little bit of orange in there. Oh, look at what we forgot. We need to draw our dot. Hold on. Make sure you draw your dot for the nose. It's an oval shape, colored in dot. All right, what you want to do when you color this, I'm adding some yellow. I'll just do this real quick in one area. And it sort of just tapers off a little bit. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of orange on top of it, just to give it some variation, just to make it look interesting. I'll try coloring this way so you can see. Just a little bit of orange. Don't want too much. And then again, I'm going to take my wet paintbrush here, and I'm going to just fill that in with some water. My paintbrush, and it creates this nice, pretty, solid color. It's okay if there's some down there. Wipes right off. All right, so you have fun coloring this, and then tomorrow I want you to try to draw an eagle with basic shapes all by yourself. You can look at it from a different angle. You can use this picture if you'd like. But again, in everything that you draw, you can look for basic shapes, ovals, going in different directions. You can look for circles. See, there's little circles in here, lines. You just look for those basic shapes and you do your best drawing. And then on Friday, for day 5, we'll come back together and we'll create our final piece of artwork with an American eagle, and it's going to have an American flag in the back. All right, I look forward to doing that with you. Have fun. Bye-bye.